All right, looks like we're live on Facebook and Pat is here.
I want to welcome everybody to our July virtual roundtable. This is Adrian McCure, the Assistant Council Commissioner for Roundtable, and I want to welcome you to this month's special edition. As typically we do not have one in July. A couple of housekeeping notes as we get started. In the chat, if you could post your name and your unit affiliation so we can track your attendance better. Any questions you might have, if you can use the Q&A portion for that, as if you put them in the chat, they will tend to get lost and not be able to be answered for you until later as we go. If we go through the chat, we can probably pick up some, but if you do them in the Q&A, that would be most appreciated. So to start things off, I'd like to invite Pat Saxon to do our opening prayer. Pat?
Thank you. So this is the Rover Prayer that comes from England, and it was adopted by Baden-Powell. So I would like to dedicate it to all of our scouting families in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and if you will grant me a small dispensation to add Vermont. By the spirits of the just, made perfect in their suffering, teach us in our turn, O Lord, to serve thee as we ought, to give and not to count the cost, to fight and not to heed the wounds, to toil and not to seek for rest, to labor and not to ask any reward, save that of knowing that we do thy will. Amen.
Thank you, Pat. If you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. We can have Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2, Scout sign. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2. And before we move into our big rock topic, a quick announcement regarding our launch party on August 5th. Registration will be required for that, and you can go to ncbsa.org/launch to sign up for that event, and hopefully we can all see you there. So at this moment, we are going to move over to Brian Scribner to talk about unit program planning and journey to excellence. Brian?
Thank you, Adrian. So it's this time of year where units typically start reflecting on how last year went, think about, okay, I'm going to go camping for the summer, kick back a little bit and enjoy a little peace and quiet. Hopefully most of you right now are beginning your program plan for 2020, 2021. Journey to Excellence is a perfect tool to use when outlining the big picture for your unit's scouting year. When you think the word Journey to Excellence in the program that's out there, some of you may look at it as it's a way for council to look at how you're doing. And sometimes you look at, okay, how can I be the best? Because you get really cool patches. If you get gold, you get a cool patch that has a gold around the outside, silver on the outside. So it's pretty cool. But more important than that, Journey to Excellence is the roadmap to your year. It's broken down into 4 categories. You have planning and budget, membership, program, and volunteer leadership. All are bronze, silver, and gold. A unit needs to earn a minimum number of points and a minimum number of objectives to get that. Looking at the scorecard for a pack, to achieve bronze level of recognition, the unit would need to score at least 525 points, gaining at least 7 of the 11 objectives. So if a pack achieves the bronze level in all 11 objectives, that would be a total of 525 points, therefore earning bronze. Use Journey to Excellence to set your unit's goals for the upcoming year. If you feel your unit's top performing, set your goal for gold. If you think your unit is work in progress, use the objectives to identify the unit's weak areas, then set goals to improve. And just because you earn silver or bronze doesn't mean in some of the categories you don't meet gold. There are a lot of units out there that have a phenomenal program that meets gold all the time, but they might be lacking in a couple other places, whether it's silver or bronze. But at the end of the day, when you tally everything up, they could be a silver or gold unit. So don't get discouraged if you look across in one unit, one area, you don't meet gold. That's okay. Stop, start, and continue. Think about what you did right, what you want to change, and what you want to continue to do. But really, it is the roadmap to get you to plan a very powerful and engaging program for the next year. Get you to think of each category and how you're going to do it. Most of you know by now that the beginning of August 1st is the annual National Recognition of Youth, and the traditional program is being raised from $60 to $66. So national is increasing $6 for every scout. Scout, it's also a one-time joining fee of $25. The charter fee will be increasing to $75. Adult national registration is remaining at $42. So for budget reasons, you gotta start looking at that and saying, okay, just to register a scout, we have to figure on more money. And I'll get into that in a little bit. Beginning January 1st, 2021, National Council will be instituting the Adventure Card. This is a $48 fee per scout and $12 per scouter with a maximum of 100 per family. The Adventure Card will entail each person to free shipping from the Scout store, unlimited free admission to Adventure Base Camp, its open program, discounts on council events, discounts on council organization day camps and resident camp, summer camp, free tent camping at council properties. So it's more than just a fee. It's a card that gets you into a lot of benefits that Narragansett Council puts out there. So as we look at the increased fees and budget aspects of the matrix, it becomes more important moving forward to plan out your year earlier and earlier. As your unit prepares the budget for the program you develop, the unit can pass on the increases national and local council fees directly to each family, increase fundraising, or a combination of both. In this example here, a pack of 35 Cub Scouts includes summer camp in its budget, charges $75 for fees, and has 3 fundraisers throughout the year. Popcorn in the fall to pick up 2/3 of their budget, a pasta dinner in the early spring, and a car wash in late spring, each picking up 1/6 of the budget. So including fundraising in your annual program is important, and early fundraising is very important. You don't want to be raising funds in November, December, and January when the charter is due earlier. So I'm going to take a quick break and bring up James to talk a little bit about the popcorn, because your units will be able to get more per package this year from the popcorn. James?
All right, Brian, thank you. So yeah, we have some exciting things going on with Popcorn this year. And as he mentioned, it is our #1 fundraiser throughout the year. It's council funded, council approved. We put all of our marketing and effort into it. So if there's one fundraiser you're gonna do, I strongly suggest Popcorn. But some of the exciting things that we're doing is our sale starts August 1st. So that's coming up in a short two weeks here. Your scouts can start selling August 1st. They can set up their online profile, all of that. The great thing about this sale is every scout can participate. So even if you're troop, for those of you on here, if you're not a troop leader, you're just a parent, your unit doesn't participate, your scouts still can. They can still sell online. They can make their free online seller account that's available 24/7. Through the end of the year, all the way till December 31st, and you'll get credit for whatever's sold online, which is great because that can help you offset some of those fees and some of those fee increases that Brian just mentioned. So it's a great idea to mention it to your scouts. You know, if your unit as a whole doesn't want to book show and sells and do neighborhood blitzes with wagons and things, that's fine. You can still do online sales. And the reason why I'm saying online sales so many times this year is our online sale is the one way that you can do touchless, I don't want to say touchless, but no contact ordering and no contact delivery. It all gets shipped directly from our vendor, which is Camp Masters Popcorn. And so you can literally send out your code, you can go around with an iPad, whatever you want to do, and you can get orders anywhere across the country and they'll ship them directly. So that's really exciting. And what's even more exciting this year is Camp Masters listened to everybody's complaint that shipping was too expensive and said, you know what? Free shipping on all orders this year. Every single order is free shipping if you place it online. So that's really exciting. I'm glad they're doing that. Take advantage of it. It's a way to boost your sale, because you're not paying for shipping prices. The other thing is we as a council understand that this environment has been tough on a lot of people, and you might have not have been able to do your spring fundraiser or whatever you typically do. So we're actually, for the first time in many, many years, raising our commission back to our units. So as you know, we fundraise a portion, you guys fundraise a portion. We're actually going to increase that to 38% this year. And for anybody that qualifies for our top seller bonus, that'll go up to 40%. So your base commission is 38% of everything. So if you sell one item or 100 items, 38% cash money in your pocket, which is great. Our top selling unit raised something like $28,000 or $29,000 last year. So they had thousands and thousands of cash that they could use to fund their program. So it's doable. We had 11 units sell $10,000 or more. Think of what your unit can do with all of that cash. And then the one last thing I wanted to mention is that we have a dedicated webpage on our website. It's called ncbsa.org/popcorn. So you can check that out. There's a whole bunch of really good tools and tips and resources on there, videos you can share with your parents. And we're also, as we mentioned very early on, we're having a launch party August 5th, where we typically would hand you your order forms. We're figuring that portion out on how to get them to you, but we're still going to do a virtual launch party and tell your scouts how they can set up their online seller account, how you as a popcorn kernel can get your unit signed up for the sale, and how you can start generating some much needed funds to pay for everything you need for your whole year. So I think that's all I had.
Thank you, James. So aside from popcorn, pasta dinners, and a car wash, there are other fundraisers that you guys can use. You can think about candy bar sales, Christmas tree and Christmas wreath sales around the holiday season, Christmas tree disposal, something to think about. What do you do with those Christmas trees if your town doesn't take it? Capitalize on that. Food kiosk or activity at the local festival. So there's plenty of ideas out there to fundraise. You can also look at Savers. They have a program there that if you collect doing clean outs of houses, old clothes, whatever, you can bring that in and Savers will pay you per pound for the stuff. So it's a great way of making money. So those are some great fundraising things. So we'll spend a little bit of time on the budget and program. So I want to really get into the program a little bit. A lot of you are probably thinking, how can I plan a program if I don't know what the requirements are? It's a valid question. Very difficult thing to do. So looking at where we are right now with the restrictions, which we'll go into in a little bit with some of the professionals, there are certain things you can do right now. You can meet in groups up to 25. You can meet virtually, in person. There's a lot of the camp facilities that are open for small groups for limited amounts of time. So there are things you can do right now. Doesn't mean in the fall things get pulled back a little bit because the pandemic comes back. So the suggestion really is almost plan 2 different avenues. And what I mean by that is take a look at your month to month and say, okay, if we can meet in person, this is what we're going to do. If we can't, here's what we can do. So there's a backup plan. So that way you're not scrambling if something comes back quickly and says, you know what? Now you're down to 15 people. You just go to your plan B. So take this summer, take a good time with all your adult leaders, and really plan out the year and come up with a budget. Knowing that the prices are going up, it's more important right now than ever to really take a look at what you want to do in a year, what it's going to cost, and have a roadmap to get you there. So that's a little snapshot of Journey to Excellence. Most of your units out there are doing that, which is phenomenal. If you haven't looked into it, on the website, they do give you the forms to fill out and really walk you through how to do that. And there's enough units and unit commissions out there that'll help you. So use it as a tool to help you plan the best program for your youth that you possibly can. So if there are any questions out there in the Q&As, I don't know if there are any out there, Kara or James.
Not that we have not answered.
Okay, excellent.
Doing fine.
All right. All right, so if there's no other questions, I am going to turn it over to Mark Carden. He's going to talk about safety concerns and some experiences from packs and troops. Mark?
Hey, Brian, thanks, and great to see everybody in a virtual setting tonight. And Pat, it wasn't lost on me, that little Vermont reference there, so congratulations to Mark Saxon, Eagle Scout from this council, who's the new Scout executive of the Green Mountain Council in Vermont. So always glad when we have our own go off and do great things. So we're really excited for him. So I'm here to talk about units meeting. And James, I think you have a poll queued up. You can throw the first poll question out there. How many of you have been meeting virtually since the pandemic started? So James, you could throw that poll out there and we'll get some answers really quick. So who's been meeting virtually? So the answers are pouring in fast. It looks like most units, a little shy of 90% so far, have been meeting virtually. So that's great. So James, can you throw the next question out there? Who's been meeting in person? 89% meeting virtually. Who's been meeting in person? We'll let James throw that poll out there. So there's yes, no, and not yet. I love that not yet answer. So they're coming in fast and furious here. So it looks like about half of our folks on the call have chosen the not yet. Second place is no, and 18% of the units here, about 11 units, yes. So you should be meeting in person now that we can. So I'm going to touch really briefly on the safety stuff. Our Scout executive, Tim McCandless, will talk a little bit more about that later on. But all of the safety guidelines you can find right on our website. It was updated today. That's at ncbsa.org/corona. The highlights of that are groups can meet up to 25 people now. So stable groups of 25 people, and that's in Mass, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. So we're excited about that. That's a new development from last time. Those should be stable groups and no mixing of groups. So if you have a large troop or a large pack, break that up into patrols or dens. So we're really excited that we have a number of our properties available to help you meet, because a big thing that we're hearing from units is my chartered org won't let us meet there. We meet at a school, we meet at a church. They don't want to let outside groups in. So we've made a number of shelters at our camps available. You can rent them in 2-hour blocks. There's no charge. So you sign up on our website. You go to the short-term camping section, select summer 2020 facilities. You can pick a shelter. You'll have a dedicated restroom facility just for your group. And those are staggered such that we'll have staff cleaning and sanitizing in between groups. So we really encourage you to get out to meet. If you don't have a spot to meet, we have Yagoo, Champlin, Aquabike, and Camp Norris. That'll be available starting July 21st. So we're excited about that. Again, on the website, there's some stuff about screening. They have to have a permission slip / waiver, health history form. You should have the health history form anyway. So why should you meet? So these kids want to meet. They're zoomed out. I mean, we all have kids. My 2 kids who are an hour of light in a second class scout, they are zoomed out. They want to get out there, see their friends. You'll note in the news, the American Academy of Pediatrics is urging school to open up. Why? Because of the missed socialization. These kids need to be with their friends, and we can do that safely. So kids want to meet. It's healthy for them to meet, following all the safety guidelines, and it'll help your unit with retention and recruiting. So many units, including my pack I'm the Cub Master of, and the troop I'm associated with, we usually kind of close up shop for the summer. We don't have the weekly meetings. Sure, we do summer camp, but we don't have weekly meetings. Things are different this summer. We are meeting on a weekly basis. And that looks different depending on the pack of the troop. The pack is pretty big. It's 50 kids, so we can't all get together. A couple of things that we did, a few ideas. If you have a large pack, especially if you're one of the 90% of units that were meeting online, maybe you didn't have a chance to give out the awards that they earned. The awards, big part of scouting, right? So what we did a drive-in pack meeting. We did it 2 different ways. The first time we did drive-in movie style. Our church has a big parking lot. We used some sidewalk chalk, marked out the parking spots. They all park 6 feet away. Don't get out of their car. The windows were down. They wore masks. We had a little PA system. We did the announcements. We recognized the youth. And our advancement chair was walking around, and people were popping their trunk. He was throwing the baggie of awards in their trunk. Everyone had a great time. Another time we did it, it was pouring rain. There was a monsoon. But we had some kids that ranked up. They earned those awards. So we set up a little pop-up tent. They drove up. I gave them an attaboy or an attagirl, threw the items in the car and sent them on the way. So there's ways to do it. Our dens are meeting on a smaller basis. So the AOLs are meeting. They're planning a day trip for the fall. So they're meeting, working on some of their AOL achievements and working on planning that trip. We have a fishing outing coming up. So it's going to be, hey, we can do group of 25. Sign up ahead of time. Come to the place. We do fishing all the time during the summer anyway. If we get more than 25, we'll do a separate session. So group A, you're going to come between 11 and 1. Group B, 1:30 to 3. Get out there, go fishing, go for a day hike. All simple stuff, free, not a lot of planning. The troop has been meeting this summer since we could start meeting kind of like normal. So there's 2 examples I'll give you. So Troop 3, Gassy Plateau Girls. They've been meeting, they did a ton of merit badges and all sorts of advancement virtually, but you know what is really tough to do virtually is first aid merit badge, the first aid requirements. It's really tough to demonstrate on so many of those things you have to demonstrate, right? So we tried to maybe have them do some videos, demonstrate all the different first aid techniques by video, and it was a failure. It didn't work well at all. So we learned, we tried it, we learned. Now that we can meet in person, we're wrapping up first aid merit badge. We're working on those first aid requirements for second class, first class. We're doing outings. We have a hike this Saturday. It's a smaller troop, so we're under the 25, which includes leaders, by the way. Those limits do include leaders. So we're good to go there. We haven't gone camping yet. Our guidelines show that we're not allowing overnight camping yet, but I think Tim will talk a little bit more about that as something that's coming down the pike and something we hope to allow very soon. Another example, Troop 4 Gas Beef Boys. Their meeting night is Thursdays, so they're not having a traditional trooping per se. They're doing a different outing every Thursday night. So it's a hike, it's fishing, all different outings. You could do a community service project, a beach cleanup, or a neighborhood cleanup. Really, all the stuff you're used to doing, you can do now. Get out there, do the activities. The kids want it. They want to meet with their friends. They want to see their friends. Help your unit with retention. So I believe Chris Black is up next. He's going to talk a little bit about what PAC 1913 has been doing. And I'm interested to hear what you're doing, Chris, because I want to steal some of your ideas.
Hey, Mark, you definitely covered a lot of it. We certainly transitioned from the virtual world to try to prepare to get these scouts all together. We definitely, as soon as the guidelines came out, we created obviously, hopefully all the units have done the same thing as a COVID plan, which details, some of our policies and procedures, as well as the required forms and the waivers that have been posted on the Narragansett Council page. So each parent and scout, we asked them to fill those out. So we do to try to have those on file for all of those events, as well as contact tracing, just like we would to make sure everybody's safe. Obviously, when we go for a hike now, which we're doing on Saturday or Sunday, one of the new essentials is certainly a mask. We're trying to build that into our culture so it becomes second nature for those children. One thing we did at Troop 11, because we had already had their medical forms on file in preparation for Yagu, we just added the waiver to that. So that was an easy transition because we had their health forms on file. So please try to make sure you do create a binder with all of that in there to help us all comply with those guidelines. As far as the Eagle Scout, we had an Eagle Scout project this weekend and we certainly complied. We kept the numbers intimate, and actually I've seen other units take an Eagle project, which normally would have 30 to 40 scouts at one event, kind of break it up over 2 weekends or 3 weekends with smaller pods of scouts so everybody can participate and the work can get done. So like Mark covered it, his unit has been doing so many great ideas about getting together, but yet maintaining the social distancing aspects there. We're all really excited about doing a camp out. We know that there are some regulations coming soon that will allow us to do that. And I think that is a vital thing to not only get the skills we need to the children, but also keep them excited and make the program continue to be relevant. So I just want to echo what Mark said. The council has amazing tools available. Just download them, make it your policy manual, share them with your parents, get them out there. But yet get these children engaged and active and continue scouting. And, now is not the summer to take off. If anything, it's the summer to start a new tradition and be active, really ramp it up and keep these children engaged so we can roll right into a successful summer without any loss. So, Mark covered an awful lot of the cool stuff we're all doing. So I think we're all stealing from great ideas from each other on Facebook. So, and another thing, if you don't know, ask your district executives or, reach out to Facebook, to some of the service area Facebook pages, and, let's communicate with each other, because I learned and I continue to learn all the time by seeing these ideas out there. So let's stay connected as unit leaders and continue to offer that great program. So thanks a lot, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. And I'd like to bring up Tim McCandless.
Great, thanks, Brian. Can you hear me? Great. Hey, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. It's great to have you with us. Thank you for your work in scouting. It's really important to the scouts that we serve, and it matters. And thanks for making it possible for kids. I know that COVID has disrupted all of our lives in significant ways, in different ways for different folks. And my prayer is for peace and good health for you and your family and your scouts. I want to follow up on the guidance for units activities. We hope that your unit is in or will be in a position soon to start in-person meetings as you're able to. However, we have to be respectful of the fact that there are some scouts and some leaders that will not be ready to meet in person for any number of reasons. It could be that they themselves have health conditions which would put them at risk. It could be that they have persons at home that would be at risk. It could be that they have persons at home that are in the healthcare field or other fields, which if a child came back diagnosed with COVID, it would be disruptive to their family's work potentially. So let's be respectful of the fact that there may be some families and leaders who are not ready to come back to live meetings, and we have to understand that. And I would encourage you to continue to offer virtual opportunities so that those kids can stay engaged or get back engaged or get engaged if they aren't already. The big change that's happened with our guidance for unit activities, this is all based on the state rules in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, is now we can have larger groups up to 25 in all 3 states. That includes leaders. And a few of the questions that have come on the Q&A to that area, let me address a few of those questions. If some people have asked them, probably a lot of you have those questions. And that is that if you've got more than 25, you can break into multiple groups. You can have 3 groups of 15. However, they need to be stable groups, no mixing between the groups for the entirety of the summer. So once they're in a group, it'd be like a patrol or a troop or pack or den. They have to stay in that group, and there has to be 2 leaders in each of those groups. And the leaders cannot switch from group to group for the entirety of the summer. In order to provide consistency, that it does not provide a vector for COVID-19 to transmit between multiple people. So that if there is someone that becomes diagnosed with COVID-19, it would only be limited to potential exposure within that exact group and none of the other groups. So a larger unit could have multiple groups, 2 or 3 groups, but they have to keep distance from each other. They could potentially be at the same general location, park or those kinds of things, but they have to maintain a distance from one group to the next of at least 14 feet. I'd be thinking about 20 feet or more. And if you have leaders that are going to give overall guidance to those multiple groups, you can do so in a distance. So you can have multiple groups in the field that are grouped in their groups 14 feet or more apart, and 1 or 2 leaders that are not part of any of those groups that are giving overall direction. But every group would have to have its own 2-deep leadership to do that. We expect those group sizes to go up. They have already, and we expect them to go up down the road, but that's where we're at right now. So you can't have multiple groups. You cannot have any switching of scouts or leaders between those groups for at least the entirety of the summer. I suspect that will continue on into the fall, but we don't know that yet. No overnight activities yet. We hope to that will be changed very soon, but we will keep you posted on that. And no overnight activities yet at our camps. However, we have introduced the option for units to reserve some of our facilities, outdoor facilities, no use of indoor facilities, some of our outdoor facilities, so that if you need a place to meet, so some of our units don't have a place to meet right now. Well, we're doing some limited facilities at Camp Norris, Camp Aquapog, Camp Champlain, and at Yawgoo Scout Reservation for the time being. And you can reserve those online by going to our facilities rental page, and you'll have to select the category. Normally you would select the camp category, but in this case, with the special COVID situation, you'll select the category of summer 2020 facilities. And maybe I'll ask Charles, if you're able to put up the link on the chat for the reservations page, if you're able to find that, put that for people, that would be great. Sorry to make you scramble on that. So this is intended, and we're doing this free of charge to units. There's no cost. So at Yagoo, we've got a handful of outdoor sites that we can handle multiple groups at one time, and Aquapog's got, I think, room for 2 different groups at once. Champlain for 1 or 2, and Norris, I think, is for 1 at the moment. We will grow that as we're able to. Keep in mind, thank you. Charles just posted the link for the facility calendar online or on our chat, so you can use that to click onto that right now. But keep in mind, we have to do significant work behind the scenes to sanitize all facilities between groups that come in. We have to have a space of time between groups that come in, and we have to have the opportunity for our staff to do some of that work in between that. But that provides a great opportunity for your unit to come out to one of the camps for a meeting or activity, go for a hike, go fishing, or whatever else you would like to do along those lines. There will be no program provided. You will not interact with our camp staff in any way. It's just providing the opportunity for your unit to have a place to go to be able to provide or to have meetings or some daytime activities. We have a 2-hour window for those. It's not exactly 2 hours, but we just need you to understand that you can't be in that facility for all day because we have to make it available for other groups, and we have to do sanitizing between groups. So that gives you some idea of that. We hope to expand that as we go. We have to follow our regulations provided by the state, and what we're able to do staffing-wise to provide all the regulations that we have to adhere to internally with our facilities. So we will expand as we're able. We're starting somewhat small and making sure that we don't overcommit, because the last thing we want to do is be responsible for a situation where we're putting kids or adults at risk of transmission of COVID-19. So that's a little, the details are on our webpage, which is ncbsa.org/coronavirus or corona. Either one will get you there. And you can download the full guidance document, which then you can download separately the waiver that Mark referred to. Every participant, adult and youth, has to sign the waiver, and your unit keeps those. You don't need to send those to us. However, if there's an issue that comes up, the first thing we're going to ask for is the waivers and the health forms. You need to collect the parts A and B of the BSA medical history and health form. It does not require a doctor's signature for that. That would be part C, which you don't have to have, but it's the medical history and list of medications that a person is on, and that kind of basic information that you need to know in case someone would need to be transported to medical care at any point in time. So you'll have a medical form, and you'll have the waiver form for all adults and youth that will be participating. Social distancing, face masks, all the other standard requirements are part of that. Face masks need to be worn by scouts, except as noted by the states, when they're engaged in active play. In other words, strenuous activity. And I'm having a hard time thinking of specific examples, but the running and jumping and maybe going through an obstacle course as an example, they wouldn't need to wear a face mask while they were doing that. But unless they're doing active play, they need to wear a face mask. Adults are supposed to wear face masks at all times. It's understood that when kids are doing active play, there may be sometimes less than 6 feet distancing between them, but you should do low contact activity. In other words, you should not be playing basketball or football or rugby or volleyball, which are high contact, high proximity activities. So being able to do some of those low or no contact activities are best. Hiking, geocaching, any number of other things along those lines. All kinds of great scouting activities. I would minimize the use of any shared equipment, but if there is any shared equipment, it must be sanitized between each person that uses it. And the first thing that everyone should do when they show up for the meeting or activity is everyone should wash or sanitize their hands. Then they should do so during the activity, and then they should do so before they leave the activity. There's a list of all this in those unit guidance, and I urge you to download that information. I'm going to pause there and ask our moderators if we have any key questions for the whole group here. I'm going to look at the Q&A here.
Hey, Tim, just for a little bit of clarification, we did have one question on Facebook. Do you have to fill out that COVID-19 form for every Scout event? And if not, how often do they need to be updated?
Yeah, great question. The answer is no, you do not need it for every Scout event. You need it for each Scout that will be participating in your activities. You can keep them once they fill it out. You can keep them on file, and that will be valid for the foreseeable future until we tell you otherwise. But I would anticipate that would be valid through the end of this year minimally.
Hey, Tim, a couple of
Good
questions on the Q&A. One that came up a few times is crossing state lines. Now, previously, there was a prohibition on crossing state lines.
Yes.
Currently, that's been lifted, but we could go backwards.
Yeah.
So for now, it's okay.
Yep.
We have a question about the OA ordeal. I don't know if you can speak to that, Tim. I know Tom Sisson
Yes.
and David Paulson have been working on a plan. Could you speak to the ordeal?
Yes, thank you. Yes, the Order of the Arrow is organizing some activities to be held at our camps in the month of August and beyond, nothing in July. And we are using the state camp guidance for those activities. And so we will be keeping within the group limitations on camp. And depending how many participants there will be, we will have multiple groups at the camp for the weekend or the day, depending on the activity. So we are looking forward to that. Those will be our first group activities that we actually do at our camps. And that will be our first venture into doing some group activities that are beyond simply unit activities. And that is contingent on the guidelines by the state staying as they are now, which there's been many changes, and we're concerned about potential reversion of some of these guidelines down the road here. Hopefully that will not be the case. I saw another question here is, will the reservations for meetings still be available evenings in early September? That is our anticipation that yes, we believe that will be the case. We don't have any intention of changing that at this point because we know some units may have meeting location problems. You may have a location which, particularly if you meet the school, I'd be in conversation right now with the leader, principal or superintendent's office of that school. There's a high likelihood that unit meetings will not be able to be held in the school. And that's part of the reason we're making our camps available, which may work for some of our units, but not all of our units. But you may need to be looking for alternative locations for meetings. You may even have situations with other facilities, churches, VFWs that may not want groups meeting on the evenings or weekends as well. And that will be on a unit by unit basis. I would not wait till fall to find that out. I would be trying to find that out now and see if there's going to be any issues. But I would urge you to be part of the solution. If you're meeting at a church or a VFW as an example, offer to help them prepare their facility. Do it as a service project to prepare their facility for meetings and offer to help them with the cleaning and sanitizing, which can be a real onerous task for organizations to do. Scouts could be part of the solution for that. Okay, Mark, any other questions on Q&A for now?
Question, Lynn had a question about the Camp Norris Waterfront. Currently at our camps, we are not planning on opening the waterfronts during the summer. We are working on something for September because folks do need those second class, first class swimming requirements. We're very cognizant of that. I don't think we're ready to announce anything yet unless you want to speak to that, Tim, but we are trying to come up with something for September.
Yep, that's basically the idea. Yet that is our goal, to work within the guidelines to be able to offer some weekend or week Saturday type of programs at multiple camp facilities this fall, starting in September, and hopefully to go all through the fall. We're hoping to do far above anything we traditionally do in the fall at our camps, and we hope to be able to offer some waterfront opportunities as well as some other opportunities that we've missed out on over the summer. Keeping in mind, I just ask your patience, your flexibility with us, because there is just a mountain of requirements that we have to fulfill to do those kinds of things. And we want to be able to do it, and we want to be able to do it safely and following all the guidance that we've been challenged with. And so we look forward to the first part of August for us, hopefully making some announcements about fall programming at the camps. Looking forward to it. We're really we're really pushing hard to be able to make that happen for all of our packs and troops and crews. I do want to point out that, as someone pointed out in chat, that Triple E was a big deal last fall. It caused us to limit use of outdoor facilities during the fall, unfortunately, and that eliminated a lot of unit campouts last fall. And Triple E, as we know, it oftentimes is a 2 or 3 year cycle. And we're already learning that Triple E is, which is not a surprise to us, but it's coming back this fall. In Massachusetts, we're already seeing some mosquitoes testing positive for Triple E, and that's of concern to us. Know that we are working on a plan at least a small number of our camps, probably 3 of our camps, to do some spraying, to be proactive, to try to minimize that so that we don't have to shut our camps down completely. However, there might be some restrictions on that will relate to Triple E, in addition to COVID. So lots of things going on with that. I want to mention our virtual camps that are happening right now. Are going awesome. Cub Scout State Camp that we're doing through our adventure-based camp. They just finished week 1 last week. We're in the middle of week 2 this week. 2 more sessions to come. It's not too late to register for them. The feedback from the participants has been off the charts. I've looked at the pictures from some of the families that their kids have participated, and they've shown pictures of their kids, their scouts doing all these activities. They've done more activities on a virtual basis than they ever did when they went to day camp. And so we've learned a lot in terms of program delivery in this whole process, but the kids are having an awesome time. And James, I don't know if you're able to allow me to share my screen. Oh,
Yep,
wait, I can be able to. I'm doing it right now. Okay. So I'm going to switch over to here. So this is just some photos from state camp. We had the Audubon Society out with the owls. The kids get outdoor activities. They receive instruction. So this is one of the scouts at their home doing activities. The scouts have set up, in this case, an indoor camp, participating, working on some knots. In this case, doing the basketry, making a flag, indoor, made up as a blanket tent. They earned their patch for state camp. Another scout with his indoor fortress or tent there. Another scout working on his knots. Another scout that's made his flag. They're having a great experience, and we've received lots of fantastic comments from parents about the experience their kids are getting. Sign your Cub Scout up for Cub Scout State Camp. And then the Yagoo network for our Scouts BSA is the quality of the program that the team there at Yagoo is putting out is phenomenal. And we have had great participation by scouts from all over the country in that program, as well as do it together as a troop. We've actually done it together. They've gotten together and following the meeting provided locally in their own town, and then participating in some of the activities as a troop, and then supplementing some of the Yagoo activities with their own troop activities. Some great things going there. Check it out at yagoo.org. Moving on from camps, I'm going to tell you, I want to share with you that on Monday of this week, we had a gratitude parade at Rhode Island Hospital, as well as at Kent Hospital. And then last week, we had one in Massachusetts at Sturdy Hospital in Attleboro, and where we had scouts come out and did a thank you parade in vehicles. In this case, Troop 55 Riverside decorated their trailer, which they towed. And we did a parade around the hospital for the healthcare workers to thank them, all the essential healthcare workers to thank them. And we had a lot of scouts there that helped represent scouting to give a thank you to them. This is part of our one of our big fundraisers that we do here in the Narragansett Council called our Distinguished Citizen event. This year, we don't have our normal distinguished citizens because of COVID. Instead, we're honoring all of our essential healthcare workers. So our sponsors funded care packages, SMORE care packages. In this case, at Rhode Island Hospital, we delivered 400 SMORE care packages to be distributed to healthcare workers. They include a SMORE candy bar, a s'more cupcake, which you can't see very well there, and a couple of other items in the care package for them. And we delivered them to Rhode Island Hospital, Kent Hospital, and Sturdy Hospital. In total, over 1,000 care packages were delivered on behalf of scouting and our many sponsors in the community that make it happen. So that just happened on Monday and also last week. The gratitude was a great event. We appreciate all the scouts and leaders who came out to participate. This is just a small number of those that were actually participating. We had quite a train of cars, ambulances, fire trucks, et cetera, that did a parade honoring our healthcare workers. It was awesome. Now, as we go into the fall, you'll hear more about this, but make sure that your unit has people, you and others from your unit are registered for the launch event that Adrian mentioned at the beginning. That's where we kick off our fall membership recruiting, our fall program for council programs for the coming year, as well as sale, all kick off on August 5th at the launch party. Someone noted that we don't have the registration active yet. So we will work on getting that fixed so the registration is live, but go to ncbsa.org/launch for details on the launch party and make sure your unit is represented there for that. It will be essential for fall recruiting, for membership recruiting, that your unit, one, has an active social media presence, probably best on Facebook. Second, that you have an up-to-date Be a Scout pin using the my.scouting portal to get to and update it with good information for your unit. That's the #1 place people are going to find your unit is on beascout.org. And 3, that you've got activated online registration. Paper during COVID. Online registration is the way to do it. And make sure that you guys if you don't have all those things up to date, social media, Be a Scout pin, and your online registration. Now's the time to do that right now in the summer so that we're ready for the fall, because that's going to play an essential role to promoting your unit and helping you recruit new scouts this fall. And at the launch party, we'll be rolling out the virtual recruiting tools that we're going to be providing and helping units with throughout the fall. So make sure you stay tuned for that. On a separate note, I received a lot of questions over the last couple of weeks about the newly announced diversity and inclusion merit badge. A lot of people are asking if the merit badge pamphlet's available, what are the requirements? So be patient. The answer is none of that's available. They've announced it and they have a task force working on the development of it, but the badge is not available yet and won't be until probably, we're told, the end of the calendar year. So just so you know what's going on with that. We're also super excited at Camp Yagu that the 3-point dining lodge is very close to being finished. We're sad that we don't have a bunch of troops down there to be able to utilize it, but we will have the Order of the Arrow there in August to be able to check it out and use it. But we are having a grand opening event virtually on Saturday, August 1st with a program virtually on Zoom at 7 p.m. on August 1st. So stay tuned for that. You'll get a virtual tour of the new 3-point dining lodge, and you're going to get the opportunity, if you would like to sponsor some of the new troop tables in the dining hall or some of the other key elements of the new 3-point dining lodge. There's going to be sponsorship opportunities you might be interested in. So I'm going to, both Brian and James talked a little bit earlier about the popcorn sale and talked about some great changes with the online sales, which a lot of fundraising doesn't have that opportunity, but popcorn does. The new free shipping that's going to be part of that, the increased commission that we're providing to you to help you and your scouts raise money fund the scouting adventure. And I'd like to take this moment to make a special appeal to you. Ladies and gentlemen, we would very much appreciate your participation in the popcorn sale this fall. We want it to be as successful for your pack or troop or crew, but we are asking you, I am personally begging you to participate in the popcorn sale, even if your unit has not done so ever or in recent years, to participate in the popcorn sale. As you imagine, the COVID crisis has created a crisis for businesses and nonprofit organizations, including the Narragansett Council, and the popcorn sale will be a huge help to scouting in the Narragansett Council to keep us strong and to keep us operating through this COVID crisis. I'm asking, will your unit please participate in this year's popcorn sale? Help your scouts raise money. Let them earn their way. It's an important part of what we teach in scouting. It's an important life skill. It's important for your unit to raise the dollars, and it's important for scouting in the Narragansett Council. So with that, I'd like to once again say, will your unit please participate in this year's popcorn sale? It will make a big difference for scouting, for your scouts, for your unit, and for scouting in this council. So I would ask you to please consider doing that. Okay, I'll wrap up my comments with this. I've been in a Cub Master, a committee chair for the unit. My 3 sons all went and became Eagle Scouts. I was a Scout Master of 2 different troops and a crew advisor for a venture crew. Best years of my life are those times with my kids and their friends and the other kids doing scouting. One of my favorite activities was Klondike Derbies high in the mountains of Colorado and in Spokane, Washington, where I lived, and doing sleeping in snow caves and sleeping when it's 30 degrees below zero out. We actually had awesome times doing that kind of thing. Scouting matters. It's such an important work that you and I do in scouting. I just want you to know how much I and the Narragansett Council appreciate your service to youth in the scouting program. It matters to these kids. What an incredible experience that they get through Cub Scouts, Scouts BSA, Venturing, Sea Scouts, and these programs that they just can't get other places. Thank you for being here. Thank you for helping us make it strong and keep it strong during a national crisis. This is so important. I've been so inspired by some of our units that are doing service projects that even when we're in the midst of all these restrictions, they're finding ways to serve. Let us know about those projects you're doing. We'd love to be able to share them with others because it's a great inspiration for other people. So as you do service projects, send us photos on Facebook or other social media and keep us posted on what you're doing. What you're doing matters. It's greatly appreciated. We appreciate you being here tonight. And I will tell you that we have challenges ahead of us. You know, COVID's not over. And we don't know what all the twists and turns are that are going to take place over the next months or however long it will take. We also have challenges of at the national level, the BSA doing a financial reorganization. And that presents challenges, and that's going to be in the news over the next few months. But we're going to get through all that. We're going to get through all of this, and we're going to make it to the other end stronger. And we're going to work hard to keep scouting, to support you, to help you and your scouting unit make it through this strongly so we can serve more kids with a great scouting program. We're desperate to help you get your kids outside, and we're going to do everything we can to do that as is safely possible, and that is cooperative with the state's goals to reduce the transmission of COVID. But we will get through all of this. We'll get through there. We'll be stronger for it. And we're going to go through some changes over the next several months in the Narragansett Council. We're going to change some of our facilities. We're going to have to change some of the things we've been doing to save money. We're going to go through all those. So you might see some changes along the way, maybe some significant changes, but we're going to make it through all this. And we're going to find the way that we're going to make scouting even better than it's been before. So thank you for what you're doing. I think at this point, I turn it back to Adrian. Is that right?
Yes, Tim, thank you. Thank you for your input, and thank you to all the panelists. If there are any more questions from our attendees, please just shoot them in the Q&A. We'll stay open for another couple minutes just to answer those. I know I had one for Dr. Chris Black, or actually for Mark Carden, based on your PACs in your units participation in going through the in-person meetings. What was the process you went through to develop your COVID plans, and how did your families in the units receive it? So Chris?
Well, I basically went to the website that Tim had explained, the Narragansett Council BSA COVID, and in there's a whole bunch of different documents. One, the waiver, and then some of the verbiage utilized to, what to do prior to a meeting and all of that. So what I had done, or we had done, is taken that and kind of just made it unique to our individual unit, putting in, PAC 13 for the nomenclature and things like that, as well as we got onto the web and integrated the A and B medical form that is available online. And we just made one PDF document out of that. And we shared it through Scoutbook. We put it on Facebook. We made it downloadable. We handed it to whomever. We had some with us at every event to try to get it into their hands in as many ways as possible. So I think it ended up being like about a 6-page PDF. But like Tim said, once you have it done, it's done. But that's how we did it. Mark?
Same thing. And on the website, there's kind of a sample email that you can use to send out to your families. So You don't need to reinvent the wheel here. It's very easy. So we kind of did the same thing. Couple of questions that we didn't get to. John Shepherd asked, you have a parent, you have youth in multiple dens, how do you work that? So for your stable groups, one way we've looked at it is don't think about normal dens or normal patrols. So with with Troop 4, it was kind of the red patrol and the green patrols. So we kind of threw the regular patrols out. We just put them in 2 groups. So if you have siblings, I would keep them in the same stable group. Sue asked, is it too soon for a lion to attend a recruiting event? Will they need a help form? And can the COVID waiver be found on the website? So anyone, I've had, I think 3 lions already sign up. They haven't come to anything in person, but that's what's great about online registration. I got 3 lions, so I'm building out that lion den for my pack. So anyone that attends an in-person event, you'll need the waiver and the health history. I would suggest what we've done it virtually. We haven't done anything in person with lions yet. We usually wait till September to start recruiting the lions, but I don't know if Chris, you've had any experience with lions this summer yet? So I don't see any other questions here, Adrian.
Well, thank you, Mark. So we will wrap up our roundtable for this month. So I want to thank everybody for sitting on the panel, as well as all our attendees. And again, as Tim had mentioned, scouting doesn't happen at the local level without you. And we are here as a support for you to make your programs as good as they can be. So if there's anything that you feel we can do to help you in that sense, feel free to reach out to your commissioners, your professionals, etc. And also just remember to attend the launch party in August to get some more information on the upcoming year. Oh, actually, I just see a quick question coming in the chat as opposed to the Q&A, but is the COVID waiver available in Spanish? Tim, Mark?
It is not available in Spanish at this time. See, Bob, if you can contact us and let us know if that's an immediate need or a little bit longer term need. That's something it is not in process yet, but we could work on that if there's an immediate need for it.
Okay, thank you. And we will see you all in August. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
All right, we'll just give that a few seconds for people to leave.
One comment that came across Facebook, Tim and Chuck. I think on the PDF on the website with our current guidance, it still mentions not crossing state